الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. We praise Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and we ask Allah to exalt and mention, grant peace and send His salutations and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, upon his companions, his wives and all those who follow them on their path of righteousness until the end of time. Some things never change. Some things never change. It's a fact that has been proven times and times again historically. Attempting to change that which is meant to be unchangeable is, least to say, ludicrous. Trying to change that which is unchangeable is ludicrous. It's like someone gets a glass of water and he somehow wants to make that water juice. Okay? By merely, wishing. And you cannot make this water juice. You can add different things and you can play around with it, but you can't change water to juice. If you see someone sitting there, I'm looking at the cup, say, what are you doing? I'm thinking, how am I going to make this juice? Say, you just buy juice. Okay? You leave the glass of water as it is, and you buy juice. Of course, someone will say you can add juice to the water, then it becomes juice. Fine, let's make it Pepsi or Coke. Not that I'm recommending that anyone drinks those. But just for the record. Just a more complicated example. Now, what about when the attempt to change is done to the very revelation which Allah has sent down? Who would have thought that there would be some Muslims who would try or attempt to change the very religion which they claim they adhere to? And to our surprise, we have thousands? No. Possibly millions. From before and now, and Allah knows what the future holds, who have fallen into this trap. The trap of trying to change Islam. These people take on different forms, different names, they may be in different locations, they have different strategies as well. However, their objective and their goal is the same. Changing the unchangeable. Changing the unchangeable. What is the unchangeable? Islam. Who said Quran? We'll talk later, inshallah, during dinner. Trying to change Islam. Now, the modernists whose principles are founded on ilmul kalam. Maybe some of you have heard this term before, maybe this is the first time you hear it, but it's about time you get familiar with the concept of ilmul kalam. Ilmul kalam, if you were to translate it literally, it means the science of speech. And it sounds nice. How to give a speech? Introduction, body, conclusion. La. Ilmul kalam is not speaking about the concept of speech. It's about the idea that one's intellect is given precedence over textual evidence and revelation. So it becomes a form of kalam because it's a kind of speech which contradicts the speech of Allah and the speech of the Prophet ﷺ, and it is more or less philosophy. And if you've heard the lectures before, you've paid attention that we've often criticized philosophers. And there was a whole lecture called The Philosophers. And we said many people fall into this category, well, because people think philosophy, that sounds pretty sophisticated. Yeah, man, I want to be a philosopher. Or philosophy is cool. But they don't understand what philosophy really means. Philosophy in the sense is when someone becomes becomes a worshipper of his own ideas. أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَى. Have you not seen the one who is taking his object of worship as his ideas, hawa, his desires, his choices? All of them fall into the hawa. And we will see some wild examples. Things that you will go like this. I know already, inshallah, in the lecture you're going to go, no way. No way someone would say this, but yes, you will see what this philosophy and ilmul kalam would lead to. Who are their forefathers? Who are the forefathers of the Ahlul Ilm al-Kalam, or the modernists? Al-Mu'tazila. And if you have, and I hope you have, listened to the audio files on onewaytoparadise.net of the Aqidah classes. The Aqidah al-Wasitiyya li Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah with the Sharh of Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen alayhi rahmatullah, alayhim rahmatullah. I don't know how many files there turn out to be, over 100 or 200 possibly. All of them were going over the whole book of Al-Aqidah al-Wasitiyya, and there was a very fat segment of the book dealing with Al-Mu'tazila. Those who i'tazalu majlis Al-Hasan al-Basri, rahimahullah. They abandoned Al-Hasan al-Basri because of a conflict they had with the Aqidah. And the Mu'tazila basically are a group of people who again give precedence to their intellect over the deen, like Zamakhshari and Al-Razi, Al-Fakhr al-Razi, and many of the ulama of old of tafsir. They had this serious sickness in this regard. May Allah pardon us and pardon them. But just so you will know, because you will hear some people quote Zamakhshari and they will quote Al-Razi, and you may not know that they have a major issue. So much so that as Zamakhshari said in his tafsir about the Prophet ﷺ, عَفَى اللَّهُ عَنْكَ. Yani, may Allah forgive you for that mishap you had. Kind of language which is not to be used with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the idea that whatever of the Quran is in agreement with the intellect, we will accept it, and whatever disagrees with intellect, we will drop it. And intellect is the foundation of understanding, and this and that. We will hear some other wild statements. Now, today, however, they have taken on different words and phrases and sentences and slogans and names. So you will hear the word reform. Reform. You will hear the word progressive Islam and progressive Muslims and moderate Muslims. Be careful of this term. Be careful of this term. This term could be sound if it is understood according to the principles which we will deal with inshallah. But if not, then the term moderate Muslim is a very, very dangerous term. Remember it. Western Muslims, Sorry, Western brothers and sisters, but I mean, a lot of this is dedicated to you. And let me give you an intro from now. Every Muslim listening to this, please do not think that this is some attack on you. Okay, I'm going to mention the disease which we have been afflicted with as Muslims, specifically those who don't know any better. They are leaders in this modernist group, and they are leaders who are paving the way for this kind of ideology, and they are simply people who don't know any better, very often reverts to Islam, or someone who has not been practicing that Allah guided them to practice, and they just simply want to follow Islam, but the only thing being provided is what the modernists are teaching. So they don't intend to be in this category of people, but they have fallen into it. So don't think you're being criticized. Wallahi, we want you to come back to the truth, and we will explain to you explicitly, inshallah, what the truth is. So you can make your own evaluation and differentiate between what Islam really teaches and what is being taught in the name of Islam by these modernists. Now the reason behind them succeeding, one will say, how can these people even succeed in their da'wah? It's very basic. The reason why they have succeeded is because of the emergence of some extremists among the Muslims, who have taken the textual evidences beyond the proper understanding. And so they, specifically in the matters of battle and war, jihad, so much so that to them all the non-Muslims are to be treated the same. They paint everybody, as they say, with the same brush. So a non-Muslim, whether combatants or non-combatants, everybody is a combatant for them, and everybody deserves to be killed, and everybody should be killed. And so they go out there doing things in the name of Islam, which we have said before, Islam doesn't allow. And we reinforce the idea that we have moderation in this regard, that we neither deny fighting in the cause of Allah, because some people do, nor do we endorse the idea that everyone should be fought with just like that. There are rules and guidelines by which we understand this concept and we follow it, and we have scholars who pave the way. Not every Tom, Dick and Harry can deal with these issues, as we see in this day and time. So when these extremists came about and they started killing everybody in the name of Islam and showing this kind of bad image of Islam, so much so that the Westerners became scared of Islam and the Muslims. This paved the way for the modernists to come and say, no, 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 take it easy. Islam is not like that. So then you started hearing peace, peace, everything now. Peace and Islam became synonymous, even though Islam means submission, does not necessarily mean peace. Number one. Number two, everything became just the way you like it. So it almost became like, oh, Westerner, non-Muslim Westerner, how would you like Islam to be? What part of it do you not like? I will change it for you. Okay, you don't like this one? No problem. Shh. Put it in the drawer, close the drawer, gone. Next, this one I don't like either. Okay, we'll change that one. So they gave him, and now who are you learning from? Who's the one who's directing them? The people who live the widest lives on earth. I mean, what am I going to say? Hollywood? London? What kind of lifestyle? Drugs? Women? Dunya. Had we been in the jungles, it would have been a better life with the primitives, the primitive people. But we're dealing about the wildest people on earth. They're telling the Muslims what they need to add and what they need to delete. So if you give them the chance to do this, you're going to wind up with anything but Islam. You can call it Christianity, as Christianity is today. You can call it Judaism, Hinduism, whatever. But it is certainly, most definitely, not Islam. So they came with this and they tried to appeal to the Muslim, to the Westerners, and specifically the Western media. Sadly, these people hold some of the highest positions in Muslim organizations and centers. These modernists have the highest position. Very often because they got some Western education and they have some degrees, doctor, muhandis, engineer, batikha, big title like this, put them in the front. Now these people, they hold high positions, and guess what? They are loved by the Western governments. They love them so much, and they endorse them, and they give them money, fulus, build centers for them, and I've seen this firsthand with these eyes. You will not believe what kind of money they will get to build huge Islamic centers. You say, what in the world is this Islamic center doing in the middle of Los Angeles? But they get this money. Why? Because they save the governments the trouble of eradicating the values of Islam from Muslims. They suffice them, say, don't worry, what do you want to? You want that change to come about? You're afraid of these people living amongst you being extreme? We will take care of them for you. Give us fulus, give us positions, give us a nice fancy place to bring the people, and then they bring the people, then they start the brainwashing process. Next thing you know, the people that come out there have nothing to do with Islam, and they come up with all these new values which are against the deen, the core of the deen. And khalas, they become sheep, and they just follow the shepherd. So it's a very sick game, that has been going on for some time. And if I will share with you some incident. In fact, let me just tell you right now. I will never forget this, inshallah. I have to say inshallah because you may forget. We're very used to saying, I will never forget. No, you may forget. I will never forget, inshallah, back when I lived in that country, the States, the article which I read in an Islamic, was it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly magazine? I don't remember. I think it's called Islam in Focus. Subhanallah, I've been trying to remember the name of the magazine for 2 days. I just remembered it now. Allahu Akbar. I believe it was called Islam in Focus. And I was in that early stage of Allah guiding me to Islam, and I'm all happy with Islam and everything. It's like somebody giving you a big prize. You see what I'm saying? It's like this new toy. And then I read this outlandish article, which made me go crazy. Within the limits of Islam. The only way I was able to express myself is in that Friday sermon which I gave. I think people afterwards maybe thought that I should never give a khutbah again, because I wasn't the happiest guy. Look at this guy, man. One of these Islamic heads of, whether I don't remember whether it was ISNA or ICNA. Okay, there are two organizations there who pretty much run the thing, and from them come the MSA, whatever. But anyways, ISNA and ICNA, one of these two. This guy said in his article, we are no longer, now listen now, if you want to know what modern Islam is, just so you will know what kind of message you will get. We are no longer living in the dark ages. What are the dark ages? The time of the Prophet ﷺ. We're no longer living in the dark ages. Then he went on to say, I do not mind if a Christian priest or a Jewish rabbi will come to the masjid and address my audience. Huh? No problem if I bring a Jewish rabbi or a Christian priest to address my congregation in the masjid. No problem. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine on Yawm al-Jumu'ah, after the Imam gives the khutbah, you say, and we have a priest just for you here to give you a talk? تفضل فضيلة الشيخ فضيلة البابا ولا ماما ولا عمو ولا تيتا تفضل give him a talk. What is the Christian priest going to tell the Muslims from the minbar? Good choice. Good, stay a Muslim. What is he going to say? Either he's going to lie, if he said that, or he's going to call us to Christianity. Hello, missionaries. Or a Jewish rabbi, even worse. Someone who already has hatred. And then you know how he justified it? How did he justify it? He said, the reason why he wouldn't mind, he says because he is 100% sure that they do not want to convert us, and they can rest assured that we don't want to convert them. Now, the Jews and the Christians no longer want. Look, either you believe him or you believe Allah. What does Allah say? وَلَن تَرْضَى عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَا النَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. Never ever will the Jews and the Christians be pleased with you until you follow their millah. You follow them completely, you enter into their millah. Not just their deen, their millah. So Allah says they will never be pleased with you until you follow their religion. He tells you, oh no, we trust them, they don't want to convert us. Subhanallah. And we don't want to convert them. You don't want to give them da'wah? Then what? What do you want to do? Just pat them on the back? So, the way you're going to Jahannam, enjoy it? La. You know why he doesn't want to convert them? Because these are the same people who published a flyer, which I read, that said that the Jews and the Christians are not kuffar. And every time the term kuffar was used for them in the Quran, it was referring to zurra'. Because in the Arabic language, al-fallah, or the farmer, is called a kafir. Because kufr is to hide something, and because they hide seeds, they hide seeds under the soil, and they cover it, this is a form of kufr. So they said every time Allah was speaking about the kufr of Jews and the Christians, He meant that they were farmers. A flyer, a pamphlet published, being distributed in the masajid. I told you you're going to go like this. That there's no way people will think like this. No, Habibi. It's worse than that. So just so you will know. That's what this guy had to say. His ancestor is Al-Farabi, who translated the works of Aristotle. And from there came all this philosophy. And Al-Farabi was greatly influenced by Aristotle, to whom he translated for. And then Ibn Sina and Ibn Rushd were both affected by Al-Farabi. So we had this kind of tree, or this kind of lineage of philosophers who were affected by the Greek philosophy and all this nonsense. And this is where the deviation in Aqidah happened, in Manhaj, in Fiqh, in everything in Islam, because of these people and their way of thinking. Now listen to the concept of Aristotle, which Al-Farabi picked it up from him, and then here's the conclusion. What is the conclusion of Al-Farabi? The philosopher is of a higher status than a prophet. Why? Since the philosopher understands issues by means of reason and contemplation, while the prophet understands them by means of imagination, which in their view is inferior to logic. The prophet only imagines what inspiration he receives, so he's more like a blind follower. A philosopher, however, he comes to these conclusions with this thick brain, therefore he is better than a prophet. Wild. So logic in there is the object of worship, because it dictates to them what is right and what is wrong. Now historically, this movement became prevalent in the church. The modernists actually began in the church. When the church had these teachings of theirs, which were pretty much man-made, and they started to conflict with science. So the Christians went to this very difficult era, when science would say the earth is round, and the Bible said it's flat. And this whole Darwinism idea was being endorsed and accepted by the people, and the church was saying Adam and Eve, which is what we believe. So they had this major conflict between science and religion, where you either had to choose religion and ignore science, but they couldn't do that, or you had to ignore science and reject religion, and they couldn't do that either. So they said, let's bring a relation between the two, wherein we say that every time has its own way of understanding things. And then the idea started to develop among the modernists in the Christian church and in Judaism, until they changed much of their teachings, and you see the consequence of that today. And then, as the Prophet ﷺ said, that you will surely follow the ways of those who came before you. Hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, span by span, cubit by cubit, even if they were to enter into the hole of a lizard, you will follow them. They said, O Messenger of Allah, the Jews and the Christians, he said, who else? Who else? So when the Jews and the Christians started having modernists modify their religion, surely among the Muslims will be those who follow their footsteps, and we see this in this day and time. So we warn the modernist Muslim, regular person, to be careful of what is being plotted against them. Now let me give you the principles, their principles, so we will know who they are. This is general talk. We need to identify the problem. It's like the symptoms before you give the treatment. Their principles. Number one, Islam has to adapt to current circumstances, and what was acceptable at the time of the Prophet ﷺ may not be acceptable now. Islam has to adapt to the situation, environment, culture, and we don't deny that there's an element of that. But they mean in totality, so much so that what could have been applicable at the time of the Prophet ﷺ is no longer applicable now. Example. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith in Bukhari, the hadith of Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu, not Abu Bakr, Abu Bakr, no people will ever prosper who place a woman in authority over them. No people will ever prosper who place a woman in authority over them. فلاح لا يفلح قوم. ماشي. Yusuf al-Qaradawi أصلحه الله said, this is limited to the era of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the rule was for men with absoluteness, but not now, not anymore. Today, ما في مشكلة. Bring some lady, make her the queen of the whole people, and things will go perfectly fine. Evidence. Margaret Thatcher, whatever her name is, they will cite for you some names. The Balqis, they will cite for you some names. These are people who had a lady in charge of them, and they prospered. So you say, you start, scratching heads. Oh yeah, that's true. What's wrong? Well, you know what? We need to take a time out and find out, what does falah mean? In a country where the rape rate is going high, and alcoholism is spreading, and the criminal behavior is prevalent among the people, and they're going down into the hole. We consider this in Islam prosperity? Yeah, maybe a lady was in charge and they made some more money, and there was some more riba going around. Do we define prosperity in Islam in this fashion? La. Prosperity is when the people are fearing Allah Azza wa Jal. So these fools look at the examples of some ladies who ruled the world, and they fail to understand what the Prophet ﷺ meant. So they say, well, the guy, not this guy, another guy, he said there's no way the Prophet said that ﷺ. And this Abu Bakr is da'if. In Bukhari, he doesn't even know what he's talking about. He said da'if. None of the ulama ever said he's da'if. He made him da'if that his hadith is not authentic. Then he said, how could the Prophet say that when we see the opposite in our lives? So, the hadith, you don't like it, put it away. Just like that. And give it some weird interpretation. But had they understood Islam and understood what the word falah meant, they would have understood what the Prophet ﷺ meant. The falah in the ultimate sense. Otherwise, a lady can run a business and they can make money. But it does not mean that they have attained falah in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal. Hayya ala al-falah. It doesn't mean you make more money. It doesn't mean you have more business. These people just don't understand the basics. We ask Allah to guide us and guide them. A second example is polygamy, or we said is actually correct. The correct way to say it is polygyny. Remember? If you remember, polygamy is men having more than one wife, wife having more than one husband. Polygyny, however, is only a man having more than one wife. They say same thing. They say this was suitable at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. As for now, khalas. Guys, tough choice, tough life. No more multiple marriage. Why? Wallah, back then, people were dying in war, and all these men were gone, and these women needed someone to look after them. This is not the situation now. We've got plenty of money and plenty of things going around. So polygyny is again excluded from the deen of Islam. Of course, because in the Westerners it doesn't look good. Come on, how are you going to tell men that I have two wives? You're speaking to John or to Paul. He's not going to dig this. You tell him I have 3 girlfriends, he say, yeah man, yeah, give me 5, you're a man. You have 2 wives? Why you have 2 wives? What's the problem? What's wrong with you? You sick-minded person, you have 3 girlfriends, that's fine with you. Having 2 wives is a problem? At least I went to both of their parents and everybody knows I'm married. Now you doing this behind your wife's back. You cheater. But brainwashing. People's fitrah has been distorted so much so that having a girlfriend, this guy is, he understands. He knows how to pick up ladies. But he gets 2 wives, you become a criminal. In the Western world, if they catch you with a second wife, you go to prison. But if they catch you with a girlfriend, nothing. The police will give you a pat on the back, say, when you're done, call me. Animals amongst each other. Beard. Hello. Welcome, beard. The beard, they say this was, the fashion back then. The fashion back then at the time, they didn't have razors and Gillette with, 4 razors and blades. They didn't have the hallag, which we have now, who would go like this with his mouth. And I remember I told you with this thread to pick out these little hairs, this nonsense stuff that they've come up with, these womanish, behavior. Back then they needed a beard because, they were living in the desert and it protected the face from sun. All kinds of lame excuses. As the beard now, you don't look nice, man. How are you gonna be married with a beard and just say shave? You look unclean. You look this and that. So the beard, again, they removed it because it's not fashionable nowadays. But it's okay to ride a Harley Davidson, be a big old fat man on a Harley, vom vom, and have a beard like this. Oh no, this is the style right there. Tattoo all over the place. Oh, ma fi mushkila. He doesn't look unclean. He can do what he wants because he's a Harley Davidson. He's cool already, born to be cool. You're a Muslim. You don't have the right to do this. No beard. Same goes for the pants above the ankles. Back then, it was the style for someone to drag their garment behind. And now, we wear different kind of garments. You wear jeans or pants, so that doesn't apply to you either. All of these are some of their lame excuses to justify their deviance. Modern Muslims. The refutation, the answer is اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم. That's it. This day I have perfected for you your deen. So, when Allah perfects the deen, tabaraka wa ta'ala, does Allah know the past, present and future? So did He not know subhanahu wa ta'ala that there will come a time when things will change? Did He modify that in His deen? No. Otherwise, when that was necessary, Allah Azza wa Jal did. Therefore, the nasikh and al-mansukh, the abrogator and the abrogated and the abrogation is part of Islam. We all believe in it. Some things were changed per Allah's decree before the revelation was concluded. Which means the idea exists that Allah may modify something according to the situation. But once Allah revealed this ayah, what does that mean? That door is closed. For you to come 1400 years afterwards and try to change what Allah Azza wa Jal left as is a big crime. And you're giving yourself the position of a legislator. You're equating yourself with Allah Azza wa Jal, who is Al-Hakim, subhanah. Al-Hakim, Al-Hakim. وَهُوَ أَحْكَمُ حاكمين. This is something in the area that you don't even approach. Secondly, another example or another principle. The second principle is avoiding the sunnah when interpreting the Quran. They like to avoid the sunnah when interpreting the Quran. They like to keep the interpretation of the Quran independent, because they know that if they were to use the sunnah, it will ruin their modern interpretation. It will ruin their modern interpretation of the Quran. And of course, the lecture of the philosophers already refutes the Quraniyun. Sahih? But an example, لا إكراه في الدين. Now, لا إكراه في الدين is a statement that Allah Azza wa Jal revealed. It's the word of Allah. There's no compulsion in the religion. How do you understand this ayah? In the light of what? Sahih? In the light of other ayat, of course, which may abrogate it. And in the light of the sunnah, how did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam apply this ayah? So the one who told us, لا إكراه في الدين, told on the tongue of the Prophet ﷺ and in the Quran mentioned that we are the best ummah because of what? تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. You enjoin what is good, you forbid what is evil. These people say this ayah means that you cannot do anything anymore. You cannot, no compulsion, don't force me, don't enjoin what is good, don't forbid what is evil, because it's none of your business. Allah said, لا إكراه في الدين. And then the ayat where the Muslims had to engage in fighting with the non-Muslims, they say, oh no, this also is gone because Allah said, لا إكراه في الدين. So now they will negate tens of ayats and hundreds of narrations which explain this ayah by avoiding the sunnah and interpreting the Quran, because they know that it will ruin it for them. So they mislead the people by interpreting the Quran without referring to the sunnah. Thirdly, they call for the unity of religions. Have you heard that one before? We're all the same. Al-Qaradawi, again, I'm only quoting him because he said these statements. Not trying to start any kind of fitna, but just so you will know from whom to take knowledge. Because the issue of taking knowledge is a very serious issue for us. And everyone's affairs with Allah Azza wa Jal. But if someone made a mistake, we clarify that mistake. These are mistakes he made. His niyyah is between him and Allah. His judgment is between him and Allah in this sense. But we have to say what it is true. He said, Christians, we are believers and they are believers. Just differently. Yani we are mu'minun. We are mu'minun and they are mu'minun. But we have different kind of iman. This applies to Iblis. Doesn't it? And we are believers and he is a believer in Taghut and believer in things, and he is a believer in good and bad in fact. He believes in Allah. So much so that Allah said that Iblis said after he misleads us, Inni akhafullah, I am afraid of Allah. After he misleads us, he claims that he fears Allah Azza wa Jalla. So what does this statement mean? No, the idea is we are all one and the same. It just so happens that you were born a Muslim, they were born Jews, and they were born Christians, and everybody's going to go to Jannah together. Jannah will have segments, a section for the Christians, another one for the Jews, another one for the Muslims. And sure enough, this leads to Hindus being included, and Buddhists, and everybody gets in. Yeah, because they almost own Jannah. They are going to decide who will enter, who not. As if they never read, if someone says, Wallahi ya akhi, they're uneducated and they didn't read, لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ ثَالِثُ ثَلَاثَةً, or لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِيسَى ibn Maryam. They haven't read these ayat. Have they not read, ya akhi, Surah Al-Bayyinah? Has any Muslim missed out on Surah Al-Bayyinah? If you have Juz'u Amma memorized. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أولئك هم شر البرية. يا شيخ, I don't understand more explicit than this. Those who disbelieve among the Jews and the Christians, the people of the scripture, and the mushrikeen, they will be in the hellfire eternally. These are the worst of creation. So you make the worst of creation like the Muslimin? أفنجعل المسلمين كالمجرمين ما لكم كيف تحكمون? Do you make the Muslims like the criminals? What is the matter with you? How do you judge? If you're going to make the ones whom Allah said about أولئك شرهم شر البرية, and the ones whom Allah said أولئك كالأنعام بل هم أضل, they are like the cattle but they are more astray. If you're going to equate them with the Muslims, this is a big crime in the deen of Allah. But they tell you, Yallah, everybody is the same. طيب, ماشي. We will let this one slide, or no, we will not let it slide. D, everything is halal. You're just an extremist. Huh? Everything is halal, ya Sheikh. What's wrong with you, man? You want to listen to music? Who do you like? Beethoven? Who do you like? 50 halalas? 50 cents? 2-pack? 3-pack? 4-pack? What do you like? Biggie Smalls or Smalls Biggie? Huh? And all these, you know, what are we going to call them? Gangsters? The gangsters. Yeah, it's just halal, man. You want to be gay? ما في مشكلة, man. Huh? You want to be homosexual? It's all good in the hood. Huh? That's what they say. Hijab, sister, the hijab is the hijab of the heart. See? You go get a nice little, you know, cloth and you wrap it around your heart. Huh? You don't have to put a hijab. Hair. What man today looks at a woman's hair? Huh? They look at other things. They don't care about your hair. So if you just cover your bottom, khalas, you can let your hair, because men are over this. See, this was back in the day when the hair of a woman used to be something fancy. Now the hair is like, whether she's bald or she has hair, kullu mashi. It's all the same. Then why you have all these advertisements of shampoo? They always have a lady with this hair, you know, this long hair, and you can see the particles, huh? The golden particles of the shampoo in her hair. MashaAllah, how good this, it will fix her hair from dead. It will revive her hair. Why all these advertisements about, khalas, make every lady go bald and finish the problem? La, because the hair is still a point of attraction in a woman. They say, no, it's the veil of the heart. And it's true. Kalla bal rana ala qulubihim ma kanu yaksibun. Yeah, exactly. It is a veil over the heart. That sins which we have been committing have covered our hearts, so much so that you took off the hijab of your head. Yeah, your heart has been veiled, sadly, not with the veil of Allah Azza wa Jal, but the veil of sins, which prevented you from putting on the hijab. There's no way on earth, wallahi, that you're a true believer and you dare to walk in the street with your beauty being exposed. No way. You have some iman, jazakillahu khairan, but don't think that you're a true believer until you're covered from top to bottom. Unless you follow the position that showing the face is allowed and showing the hands, ma fi mushkila. If this is what you believe, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, no one can say a word, because it's a valid position. But anything beyond that, no way. Because iman in your heart will force you to become shy. If a man is modest, a man, you don't feel comfortable if you're wearing some tight pants. For example, I hope we feel this way. Those who go scuba diving, for example, you know, you wear these weird, wetsuit. And it's very tight. Even a man is shy. Shy to be wearing this thing just like that. You just want to wear something on top of it, just to cover your aura. So if a man is like this, then what about a woman whose whole body is a aura? Whose whole body is a aura? Where's the iman? Where's the haya? So if the haya is gone, people do wondrous things. So they say you can listen to music, you can be a homosexual, al-iyadhu billah, you can smoke, you can do riba, free mixing, everything goes. Riba ma fi mushkila, you need a loan, University is very important. You need a loan? Get a loan, ya sheikh. Get a loan. Some of the scholars, who are the scholars? Well, I don't know, but I know some of the scholars said that if you live in these countries, ma fi mushkila, everything goes. You want to buy a house and get it with riba. You want to buy a car and get it with riba. Everything is halal. You're just an extremist. You make everything haram. Right? But has any da'i ever dared to make something haram which Allah made halal? Everything which we said is haram is per the evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah. And when there's room for flexibility, we mention. Like right now on the issue of the hijab, we mentioned that there's a position of showing the face. We say the truth. We don't play games with the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When something is haram, it's haram. Can't play with it, can't change it. Fourthly, A, B, C, D. Fifthly, call to nationalism. They call to nationalism. And I remember, if I remember, this amazing, it's amazing when, let's just say, okay, everybody knows where he's from, okay? I'm an Arab, for example. I know where I'm from. Your brother from Saudi, and he's from possibly India. He's from Pakistan. Everybody's from an origin. He has a place where he comes from, and he may live in another country and get some citizenship or something, And the worst thing and the saddest thing in the world when one of us denies where he's from. So this, you get these individuals who say, for example, he's lived in his homeland for 30 years, and he moved to this country a few years and somehow he got the citizenship. All of a sudden, we the Canadians, it's like, Akhi, forgot where you're from, man? I mean, I could tell you. We Canadians, we in Canada, we Americans, and you look at him and say, Subhanallah al-Azim. Because somebody gave you a piece of paper, man, with the citizenship, you forgot where you're from. Suddenly, you Americans, we Canadians. I mean, if someone was born there, we would understand this kind of, relationship between your homeland and yourself. You just went there a few years ago, ya Sheikh. And you come from another place. And why are you afraid of where you're from? Is it wrong to be Pakistani, or is it wrong to be Indian or Filipino or Lebanese? You have to be Canadian, Irish, Australian. This is the fancy title. Anything below that, miskeen. Oh, you're not American? Dang. Oh man, dommage. Monsieur, what can I say to you? Maybe next time. Work on it. Make sure you get a citizenship. Ya akhi, fukkani. I'm the son of Adam alayhi salam. Okay? And Allah Azza wa Jalla on Yawm al-Qiyamah will not judge us per our citizenship. Not that the Americans will have a VIP. Oh, these are Americans, I'll put them in the first. La habibi, they may be in the back. What will put you forth is your iman on Allah Azza wa Jalla. So these people, they call to nationalism, and not any nationalism, Western nationalism. So all of a sudden they speak in the name of America, in the name of Canada, in the name of these countries, as British. I didn't want to forget the British as well, as if they have no other origin, and as if this is the thing. It's the cool thing to be one of these people. And it is not. If someone is in this situation, alhamdulillah, but to brag and belittle people based on one citizenship is ridiculous. And it is a disease among the Muslims. You know what I'm saying. But this is from the modernist movement. And after they finish calling us to nationalism, they jump on to feminism. They call to feminism and they become female advocates. They're always defending the woman as if Islam came to oppress the woman, and they're trying to liberate the woman from the chains of Islam. And you hear this in their tone of voice all the time. You hear this kind of reminder all the time. So, if Islam said that لِلذَّكَرِ مِثْلُ حَظِّ الْأُنْثَيَيْنِ, the male will have the portion of two females, they say, no, this is dhulm. And as some of them suggested that, had the Prophet ﷺ, been alive now, he would have changed the law of inheritance. Or because it's not fair anymore. As if Allah Azza wa Jal did not know when He revealed this very particular, precise law in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal did not know that the times will change. So they said, had the Prophet been alive, ﷺ, he would have changed al-mirath wal-mawarith. The audacity. Let me give you an example. 2005, Amina Wadud. You know what Amina Wadud did? This lady, man, she gave a khutbah. Listen to this now. She gave a khutbah and then led the salah in a church. I don't understand this equation. Like, you're in a church preaching Islam, and then you lead the people in salah. A lady led the people in salah to a mixed gathering. Men and women were standing next to each other. The epitome of khushu'. Just in case you don't know what khushu', according to them, this is the time of khushu' when the male is praying next to a female. It turned out, of course, after people went crazy, like, what is up with this lady? It turned out that she doesn't believe in parts of the Quran. Said this, cutting the hand of the thief, la ma'alish, with all due respect to the Quran, I don't believe in it. I don't agree with it. So now she started denying parts of the Quran. So what does Allah say? أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. Do you believe in part of the book and you disbelieve in another? Takfurun. You disbelieve in the other part? What is this? So these people actually, very often you will find them disbelieving in parts of the Quran. We don't declare this, kufr on them. But we're saying that very often they fall into this trap. So it turns out that she doesn't believe in much of the Quran, and she wishes that these things can be changed. Sixthly, they deny the right to refute and criticize those who deserve it. They deny the right to refute and criticize those who deserve it. And please put a few lines under those who deserve it, because we agree with them in a sense that you don't refute and criticize those who do not deserve it. There are some people who are doing good but have errors, as we all do, and there's a particular way to deal with them. But there are some who are so dangerous to our deen that it's obligatory to expose them. But they don't want you to expose anyone. So listen to this now. One of these so-called Azhari English speakers, shuyukh, I'm not going to mention his name for whatever reason. I still haven't figured out why I don't want to mention his name, but I just don't feel like mentioning his name. But just so you will know what's being called for. This one of the Azhari, you know Azhar in Egypt, Azhari, so-called shuyukh, English speaking, said, and any of these big scholars who like to talk about people who do not have the testicular fortitude. You may be saying, what in the world is testicular fortitude? I'm too ashamed to translate it. But it is a statement referring to them not being courageous. But it's actually lowly language, which we don't use. Instead of using that bad language, you use another bad language. Who don't have the testicular fortitude to speak to them in their face, they are cowards. Those so-called big shuyukh who talk about certain people but don't have the courage, let's give them a better wording, to speak to these people whom they're criticizing in their face, they are cowards. He said, you can speak about Hamza Yusuf all you want in your closet. Go to the man's face and say to him, I think you're Ahlul Bid'ah. Then he mentioned another guy with a similar suggestion. Okay? He is now concerned about Hamza Yusuf. Now, we've already mentioned that Hamza Yusuf is not someone whom we even consider among Ahl Sunnah for us to be worried about not mentioning his name. He's someone who is totally 100% immersed in Sufism and deviance and Ash'ariyah. Okay? And those who know, who have taken the time to watch his YouTube video, it's enough for you to see him with Habib al-Jifri. If you see this guy with Al-Habib al-Jifri, one of the biggest deviants in the Arab world today, together in a Sufi gathering where they're listening to some shi'r or some of their mawals or whatever that thing is, it's enough for you to know where this guy is. Aslahahu Allah wa hadah. So he's defending Hamza Yusuf, saying that, if you're speaking about Hamza Yusuf, and you don't have the courage to say it in his face, you're a coward. But what did he do? He did the same thing. He's sitting, saying this on YouTube. If you have a problem with the one who spoke about Hamza Yusuf, why did you not come to my face or to Milk Sheikh? Because he made fun of him. He said, Milk Sheikh. Now, when he said Milk Sheikh, he means one of two things. Either he thinks I'm Milk Sheikh because many people do so. Many people think that Milk Sheikh is me, or the Milk Sheikh channel is my channel, and the correction is being clarified now. No. Even though I know him, and he's someone, Zallah Khair, who strives to propagate the Sunnah, and he re-uploads the videos, and he cuts them into segments that are relevant to the people, and he's doing his thing. Jazahullahu khairan. So when he said Milk Sheikh, either he thought I was Milk Sheikh, therefore he's referring to me, or he's referring to Milk Sheikh. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't concern me. But he's saying that we don't have the courage to say this to their face, but he didn't have the courage to say it in our face. Why did you not come to Jeddah, or go to Milk Sheikh in England and say to his face that he's a coward? So what he criticizes of, he's doing at that moment while he's saying this on the YouTube channel. But it's not that disturbed me. That is okay. We'll let it slide. What disturbed me is he want to say, you don't, and he doesn't, he's speaking about Milk Sheikh or me. You don't let people comment on your YouTube channel since you're so scared. We're scared to let people comment on the YouTube channel. And my answer to that is, We understand from the principles of the deen that not everyone is allowed to speak about the deen. True or false? True. So when you give someone the platform to comment, you have a YouTube video, and you leave it unrestricted. Anyone can drop any comment. And some wicked deviant comes and leaves a comment that is a fitna to the people. You have all kinds of audience, some who have fortified understanding of the deen that cannot be shaken, and some who are on the verge of going deviant. Do you give the platform for some deviant to spread his deviance on your YouTube channel? You must be crazy. So I don't let these comments, or I don't know about Milkshake, I don't allow them, because I don't want to give the people of deviance a platform to speak on my behalf. What I had to say, I said in my lecture. And what comments are in agreement with it that benefit the people, we'll keep them. And what doesn't benefit the people, we will not allow to be posted. Why? Because it's a fitna. And we don't want to propagate fitna. We're running away from it. Capish? Capish. You don't know what capish means? Don't worry about it. He said, you don't even let the people comment on your channel, you're so scared. Then he said something that really troubled me. He said, this person, speaking about me or Milkshake, it doesn't matter, has absolutely no training in the deen. And if he is here, I'd say it to his face, I'm 6'5", and I got these fly shoes on. And I was sitting there looking at this guy, speaking like super gangsters. He's got youth. He said to the face of me or Milkshake, I'm 6'5". What does that mean? You know what 6'5" means? He's 6 feet 5 inches, meaning he's a big brother. And I got these fly shoes on. You know what fly shoes mean? It doesn't mean his shoes fly. It means they're super cool shoes. Meaning if you were in front of my face, I would smack you. That's the education. That's the alternative. Defending Hamza Yusuf, to say to someone who's trying to protect the Muslims from deviance and striving day and night, you say you're 6'5" and you got some fly shoes on? Excuse me, Mr. 6'5". When the Prophet ﷺ said that the one who is strong is not the one who can wrestle you. It's the one who can control his anger. Who cares if you're 6'5"? We can bring someone who's 5'5" and will knock you out. But we don't go like that. We're not in some wrestling, ring where we're boxing the du'at and boxing. Oh yeah, I'll show you who's bigger. This is da'wah ya mhandis. So what, you 6'5" or 5'5" or 3'5", inshallah you're a midget. What does it matter, your strength or your big size? No, it's worse. So he's 6'5", he's got fly shoes on. Oof, okay, we're very scared now. I'm going to stay at home, and so will Milkshake, just in case you came around. Reply, also, what language behavior did you display? Anyways, I already refuted that. Now listen to this. He said, Muslim or Western Muslims are different. Now look at this ridiculous example. He said that now Muslims living in the West have to understand that they don't have to adopt Arab culture. Arab and Persian or whatever culture. You have to be independent. طيب? So he said, for example, he said, you don't have to change your name. Fine, we agree, it's not obligatory to change your name. And you don't have to change your garment. And I wish he'd stopped there. But he went on to say, can you imagine? Put on this thawb, this thawb. He said, you have to study the thawb. You have to understand the thawb came 300 years after the Prophet ﷺ by the Persians. He said, the thawb is that if I go to this thawb to my homeboys, my homeboys in the neighborhood, and they tell me, who are you? I say, I'm Abdul Malik. I'm Abdul Malik. So they will look at me. They will look at me and say, I don't know anybody named Abdul Malik, but here's some candy. You know what that means? That when your name is Abdul Malik and you dress with a thawb, you look like a beggar. Because he's sitting there wearing a suit with his 1 centimeter beard. With this tiny little beard, which you need a microscope to see, and his suit, and his tie, sitting there chilling, making fun of a brother who wears a thawb and has a beard. that when he goes to these kuffar, they will think he's a beggar. He said, I don't know who Abdul Malik is, but I have a candy for you. Oh, excuse me. So you, who we cannot tell whether you're a Muslim or not, you became the representative of Islam. You wear your suit, and you shave your beard, and this is the successful da'wah. And you make fun of the one who wants to adhere to the deen of Allah? Or he made this mistake a long time ago, then he was finally guided. The same way you were guided to sit with Hamza Yusuf with two ladies on a YouTube channel where they're wearing hijab. That's the same kind of guidance which brought you into this one as well. And this is ridiculous. This is a dangerous statement. To make fun of a Muslim wearing a thawb. It's none of your business. If you want to wear your suit, go ahead and wear your suit. But don't be playing with someone who's trying to follow Islam. And no, we don't look like beggars. We don't look like beggars. We have our respect, we have our honor, and no one has the right to play with that. It's very sad. This is the fool, the modernist, who's supposedly educating the youth. He can speak their language. Hey, take that to the curb, B. Or he was trying to memorize the Quran. Take that fitna to the curb, B. And then you're going to make fun of people in the process who are trying to wear a thawb for the sake of Allah and try to keep a beard for the sake of Allah, and they wanted to call themselves Abdul Malik after being called whatever for the sake of Allah. No, he is a candy. I don't know Abdul Malik, but he's a candy, Mr. Beggar. So he gives him a candy just to get him off his case. Oh, this is wisdom now in da'wah, that you change everything or you don't change anything to make sure that the kuffar are still on good terms with you. The last of their principles, before we conclude, is only God can judge me. That also is the title of Tupac's song, right? And it's all the same. It's all the same kind of ideology and modernist ideology. Only God can judge me. And subhanAllah, while I was working on the lecture, I'm working on the lecture in the majlis. Tayyib, I go to the living room where the computer is. And of course Facebook is open, right? Not because I'm using it, because somebody else is using it. But anyways, the Facebook for One Way to Paradise and the lectures. So I'm reading a comment, or the posts. And there's a post that said, where is it? Yeah. Do not judge others for sinning differently than you. Do not judge others for sinning differently than you. Meaning, you sin and they sin. Therefore, don't judge anyone as long as you are sinning. You know where this from? You know where this idea is from? Who knows? Christianity. You all know the story of the adulterous woman who was brought to Jesus. Supposedly, even that in Christianity is fabricated. This particular incident is a fabrication and an insertion into the Bible. Nevertheless, according to this fabricated story, that an adulteress was brought to Jesus, and what did he say? Let the one who is free of sin be the first to stone her. Meaning she was brought to be stoned, and Jesus supposedly said, the one who is free from sin, let him be the first to stone her. What does that mean? No, it means no one will stone her. Because everybody is a sinner. So, is that how we understand Islam? Yeah. Abadan. Abadan. Look, the Prophet said, ﷺ, كُلُّ ابْنِ آدَمْ خَطَّى. Every son of Adam is sinful. If we are all sinful, and you're not allowed to judge anyone as long as you're sinful, then you can never enjoin what is good, never forbid what is evil, never do anything, because every time you judge someone says, hey, you are sinful too. You have no right to talk to me. So this is the same ideology, and if you read the comments that the people left on this post was, yeah, only God can and will judge me. And this is the same answer you get from the modernists. When you say, Ya akhi, this is not right, say, it's none of your business, huh? You mind your business, I mind mine, only Allah will judge me. So there's no more enjoining what is good, there's no more forbidding what is evil, there's no more the hudud of Allah, the penal codes and the punishments. You can no longer apply them. Why? Wallah, the one who will chop off the head of this, the killer has to be sinless. And the one who chops off the arm of the hand of the thief has to be sinless. And we will never do anything then. No, we understand in Islam that we could be sinful and we're still obliged to enjoin what is good and forbid what is evil and repent from our sins. But if we wait for everybody to stop sinning, for them to start judging others, then we will never be able to judge others. So this is Christian ideology put in an Islamic understanding, Islamic sentences. It could mean something else. It could mean that don't oppress people by judging them, because some people will judge you oppressively, which is a valid meaning. But the way people understood it was in this fashion. So I left a comment that, this is a false statement. And that how we're going to enjoin the good, forbid the evil. And we started going back and forth, the Facebook fitna. The Facebook fitna. But alhamdulillah, the one who actually put the post, Allah had given him some understanding. They realized that the statement was misunderstood by the readers, so they made that correction. But one of their main ideas and foundations and principles of the modernists is, don't judge me. You mind your business with Allah, and I mind my own business with Allah. Allah knows what's in my heart. You have no right to tell me what to do. Blah, 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 blah. The whole long story. So this is one of the main principles which we need to be careful of. Brothers and sisters, there's no such thing. طيب, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. Another ayah. والمؤمنون والمؤمنات بعضهم أولياء بعض يأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر. The believing men and the believing women are allies to one another. They enjoin what is good, forbid what is evil. It's part of our iman. While we know we are sinful, it's part of our iman to enjoin what is good, forbid what is evil. If I'm sinful and you correct me, then I will stop. And if you're sinful, I correct you, will stop. So we help each other get rid of sins. But if I tell you, Wallah, you're sinful like me, so don't talk to me, and he tells me the same thing, what are we going to do? Remain in sin. And no one will be able to stop anything. It's a very dangerous principle. But it's the most common on Facebook, the most common on Twitter, the most common on all of these, social websites. Everybody gives you this fatwa ala tool. Conclusion is easy. The way of the Salaf. The conclusion is the way of the Salaf. Look, ya Habibi. The Prophet ﷺ said that this ummah will divide into 73 sects, all of which will enter the fire except one. Tayyib, which one is it? The one upon the way of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba. Let's simplify things. You have 73 doors. You go into a big hall which has 73 doors. And each one, as in other hadith, خَطَّ لَنَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم خَطًّا صح? The Prophet ﷺ drew a line and he said, هَذَا صِرَاطُ اللَّهِ مُسْتَقِيمًا. This is the path of Allah which is straight. وَخَطَّ خُطُوطًا عَنْ يَمِينِهِ وَعَنْ شِمَالِهِ. Then he put lines on the right and the left. وَقَالَ هَذِهِ سُبُلْ. These are other paths. على رأس كل منها شيطان يدعو إليه. On the head, on the top of each one of these paths, there's a shaitan calling you to himself. So understand this hadith and that hadith. 73 doors, each one has a very eloquent shaitan. Has the place decorated and has the adornments and the whole thing saying, come, this is the path. This is the sabil which would lead you to Allah. You know how difficult it is for us to choose the right place? I mean, you enter into this hall and you have 73 in front of you, everyone is telling you, come, this way. But there's only one. Out of 73, there's only one that will actually take you to the straight path. And all the other ones will take you to Jahannam. Shaitan yad'u ilayh. فَمَنْ أَجَابَهُ, as the hadith mentions, alayhi sallam, whoever responds to him, he will cast him into the hellfire. One path, one door from which we should enter. Now, if Allah Azza wa Jal went to the extent of clarifying to the Muslims how to use the bathroom, the most detailed of matters, which you would think it's natural, the intimacy between a husband and wife. This is something on the fitrah. On the fitrah, by natural disposition, men and women will know how, on their wedding night, they will know how to handle business. Yet, Allah revealed the most detailed of matters regarding intimacy. What is okay, what is not, all kinds of details. Matters of bathroom, revealed in detail. Matters of eating and drinking, revealed in detail. Visitation, revealed in detail. Do you think Allah Azza wa Jalla will mention all this and leave the path, the ultimate truth which will lead us to the straight path? La wallah. Allah who clarified the minute, The tiny little details will surely clarify the major important thing, which is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and the ayah in the Quran, that we must follow Islam according to the understanding of the early generations. Why? Because you saw and you heard tonight what contradicts what they had. If they heard the things we are saying now, Allah knows what they will do. They would not believe that they would ever come Muslims who will say the things which we heard this night. And I only gave you some of many. What is the solution for every Muslim? Stop and realize how critical it is for you to make that decision. Realize how important for you to find that gate, that door before you die. And remember that it's not easy. It's not like you enter into the hole and there's only one, so you can just keep moving. La, there are 72 other ones telling you this way, this way. The modernists are here, and the Quran is here, and the rationalists are here, and the Sufis are here. Everybody's telling you, come this way. Political people are here. You have to know where to go. You have to take the time to know where to go. And the beautiful thing is Allah made it too clear and too obvious for any one of us to say, Wallah, I didn't know. Clear, simple. Islam as per the understanding of the Sahaba. So we ask the Sahaba, do we have the biographies of the Sahaba? Do we have their statements? Do we have their tafsir of the Quran? Do they have their commentary and hadith? Everything. We ask them, how did you understand these matters? Did you understand that a woman can ever lead people in salah? What is the answer? No, drop it. Did you understand that, drinking is halal? No. Listening to music is halal? No. Everything which I mentioned as examples, you will find that the Sahaba were in agreement about the prohibition or the permissibility of certain things. So we go, span by span, cubit by cubit. Even if they were to enter the hole of a lizard, we will enter it with them. Because we know that salvation lies within. So be careful, my Muslim brothers and sisters, specifically in the West, specifically in Britain, in England, in Australia, in Canada, and America. It's a very, very strong movement. And they run most of the centers and most of the organizations and most of the masajid. I had to deal with these people myself. I remember that so-called Imam of the masjid who couldn't recite the Fatiha, when I once suggested, I said, Akhi, Barakallah feek, Allah decreed that I know the Fatiha better than you. Not that anyone's special, but I know. And these are times when you have to speak the truth. He doesn't know how to recite the Fatiha. And according to the ulama, if one who does not know how to recite the Fatiha is leading someone who knows how to recite it, the salah of the one following him is invalid, is void. Because you're more qualified than him. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Ya ummun nas aqra'uhum li kitabillah. The people are to be led in salah by the one who reads the Quran the best. So I told him, is it okay if I lead the salah? Wallahi al-Azim, he said, you're a terrorist. You're a terrorist, I'm going to call the police. I said, yeah, akhi, take it easy. Wallah, when he ran back to the office, and I had to go chase after him, I said, khalas, I don't want to lead the salah. You lead the salah, I'll go to another masjid. That's all I said. I said, just let me lead the salah. Ala tul, he said, I'm going to call the police and say that you're a terrorist. These kind of people right now are running masajid in the States with this kind of wicked ideology, and like what I quoted earlier. So the average Muslim who goes to the average masjid, which looks nice and beautiful, smells good, everything is nice, he doesn't know what kind of brainwashing he's going through. And if we don't have the knowledge, we will easily be led astray. So I'm warning you, be careful. I'm not telling you start warning against people and go, no, take it easy. But learn and understand that there's a movement that is against you. Know where to go, from whom to learn, and learn what is correct and right, and understand that the foundation and the criteria of knowing whether this is the right path or not, ask, did the Sahaba do this? Did the Sahaba understand this? Did the Sahaba apply it in this fashion? If they cannot give you a valid answer, know that you're being led astray. It's as simple as that. In Aqidah, in Manhaj, in everything, you will find that we have from the Sahaba the best example, the best way to be followed, because they followed the Prophet ﷺ. And in the areas where they had flexibility, we have flexibility. Sah? In the areas where there was flexibility, we follow the way in the flexibility. So we say some ulama allow it, some ulama don't. Some ulama say this halal, some haram. Where they had differing, we also have the same differing. We're not saying rigid and have no other opinion. No, we understand there are multiple opinions. Some say the one who prays is a kafir, some say that he is not. So we accept both opinions. Because our Salaf had both opinions. So we also follow their flexibility. Not like we're blind followers of anyone. We follow their flexibility. But what is the ultimate solution? Following their way. So ask Allah Azza wa Jal to enable us to be among those who follow their path, and to cause us to die in this fashion, struggling for His deen and striving and being adherent to the way Allah Azza wa Jal revealed Islam, not any other mode of Islam which the people have invented. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد. Any questions? Make it quick. Yes, sir. Bismillah.
You mentioned halfway through your lecture where to achieve prosperity you can't put a woman in a position of authority. I just want to know, where do you limit authority? Are you talking about leading a nation or?
Naam, the hadith is understood by the scholars. The brother was asking about the issue of women being in leadership. Is that limited to leading a nation? The scholars understand it as leading a nation. Because Khadija radiallahu anha had her own business, and she hired the best person ever, the Prophet ﷺ. And she wound up being successful by marrying him, then him receiving revelation, then her being, from the women of Jannah and from the best of the women. So we're not against that a woman could have a business, or she could run her house. We're not anti-feminism. We are with the sisters as per what Allah Azza wa Jal gave them. But to lead a nation, that's tough. Because you can imagine a woman, the president of a country, giving a talk, and then she breaks her nail. The people are dying, and she's, get me another nail, get me a spray nail, where's my nail polish? Or someone tells her that someone died, or one of her relatives, and she faints on stage. She starts crying, and women and men are different. Let's just understand. A man is not going to break his nail on stage and start complaining. He will deal with it later. A woman, this may ruin her day. She can make the worst decisions. She broke her nail, attack this other country, and get all of their nails. I want revenge tonight. Yes, lady, take it easy. Look, there are people, khalas, I've made up my mind. So women are emotional like that. They know. They're laughing because they know. One of them may flip out and do this. So, Allah made men, prophets, and He made them messengers, and He made them leaders because He gave them certain qualities that they can handle. Not that all men are good in this sense, not that all men will succeed. Some women may be better than men. Let's just be straight up. Some women may be 20 times better than many men. But Allah Azza wa Jal deals with the general condition. The general condition is that men are better than women in this fashion. So Allah deals with the human beings in this fashion. Not denying that many women were way superior to millions of men. But it doesn't mean that the principles will change so that they will become in charge. Now, any other question? Yes, sir. Alaikum salam, Habib. I'm not a sheikh, but I shake sometimes. Barakallah feek.
Just one question regarding the hadith of the 73 sects.
Naam.
First thing is that I would like to clarify, is the hadith authentic or no? That's the first point. And the second point is that the other sects that are mentioned, are they people who are kuffar, such that their entering to hellfire is forever, or are they have some deviance but they might go into heaven eventually?
Good question. The brother was asking whether the hadith is authentic or not, the hadith of the 73 sects. And then he was further asking whether the other sects are considered to be kuffar, therefore entering Jahannam. And if you've been coming to the lectures for a while, you probably know that inshallah, I will never quote a da'if hadith deliberately. Of course, one may make mistake. The hadith is sahih. The hadith is sahih. Specifically the addition, مَنْ كَانَ عَلَى مَا أَنَا عَلَيْهِ وَأَصْحَابِي, which is authenticated by many sanad, more than one sanad, asnad, which fortifies and strengthens this particular wording, because the hadith has many wordings, al-jama'a, and ila akhirih min al-riwayat wal-alfaz. So the hadith is sahih according to the ulama of hadith. And very few have said that it is da'if. Very few. Because the hadith is narrated by many people. It's almost mutawatir. Mashi? Secondly, Habibi, the hadith says, وَافْتَفْتَرِقُ أُمَّتِي, my ummah will divide into 73 sects. Therefore, all these 72 are Muslims, part of Islam. As for the Qadianis, Ahmadiyya, and the the Nation of Islam, and all these people are not even considered among the Duruz. They're not considered among the Muslims. These are the ones who don't even fall into the Hadith of 73 because they're not part of the Ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. It's speaking about Muslims. Now, they will not enter therefore Jahannam eternally. Number one. Number two, the ulama explain the Hadith that these people will be entitled, will be deserving of entering Jahannam because of their actions, but it still falls under the Mashi'ah of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, meaning Allah may forgive and pardon a mubtadi' and admit him to paradise, and no one has any business with Allah Azza wa Jal. So even though they fell into the 72 sects in this life, so now they became deserving of Jahannam, still it's the Mashi'ah of Allah Azza wa Jal which is the final judge in this matter. But now to us, we don't know what Allah will decide regarding them in the dunya, so we treat in the akhirah, so we treat them by the principles of the dunya. By the principles of the dunya, if they don't follow the way of the righteous predecessors, they're off the path and they're heading to Jahannam. Unless Allah guides them, or unless Allah decides to forgive them on Yawm al-Qiyamah. But that is not our business. But these are part of the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. Now, and that one group, akhi, does not have to have a specific name or a specific website. Just in case, because some people will say, no, we, only we. Would you like to join us? Say no. Say, okay, then you're from the 72. And who are you, Mhandis, Ashan? What kind of authority do you have? Did you ask me about my aqidah? My aqidah is like the way of the Salaf, and my manhaj is like their manhaj, and everything is like them. So, how did you exclude me? Wallahi, until you join and subscribe to our website, you're not going to go to Jannah. That's your business then. So be careful of these people who think that it's some exclusivity, as if they have a special exclusivity, and everybody else is basically denied of admittance because they fail to join their website and subscribe to their channel. No such thing. It could be any Muslim, anywhere in the world. He calls himself Allah knows what. As long as he follows the way and the manhaj of the Salaf, then he's on the right path and he is entitled to be among the saved sect, inshallah. Now, yes sir. Ma'aikum salam.
Since we know that modernization is going on at a very fast pace, what is our part in it? There are many organizations growing up every single day which call towards Shaykh Bidan or whatever that.
Yeah. They go forward, we go backward. In what sense? They call towards more modernism and we call towards more Salafism. Yeah, more adherence to the old. That is the way to revive the ummah. There's no other way to revive the ummah. Nothing. Imam Malik rahimahullah said it in the wisest way possible. Nothing will rectify the latter part of this ummah except that which rectified the first. So while they call to change in the deen, we call to sticking to the deen. They say change, we say don't change. They say take it easy, we say no, stay firm. They say this is halal, we say this is haram. And we will remain at each other's necks. But we have been given a special prophecy and a title from the Prophet ﷺ as being those who are strangers, meaning those people who are standing against this kind of wave. They are strangers, and that they will remain ظاهرين على الحق لا يضرهم من خالفهم أو خذلهم. They will remain upright and standing and right there in front of the people upon the truth. They will not be harmed by those who oppose them or go against them or leave them alone and avoid them. So we have been already promised that if we continue to make this effort, which is fight this modernism, that we will remain on top. So we have a very good advantage. All we have to do is hang in there. Hang in there and keep working and keep striving. And Allah Azza wa Jal promised already, وَإِنَّ جُنْدَنَا لَهُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. And our soldiers will be the ones who are victorious. Khalas, this is the promise of Allah. إِن تَنْصُرُوا اللَّهَ يَنْصُرُكُمْ وَيُثَبِّتْ أَقْدَامَكُمْ. If you aid the deen of Allah, Allah shall aid you. And if Allah aids us, who's going to stop us? Nobody. So, but we have to have this yaqeen, and this himma, this determination, this conviction to do something about it. And it doesn't happen while we're watching them. It doesn't happen when we avoid saying things we have to avoid, or we avoid saying things we have to say because they say, wallah, it's not politically correct, but you're mentioning this person, mention that person. At this point, we don't care, because the deen is at stake. The security of Islam is at stake. So we have to say whatever it is, even if they don't like it. But we hope they like it. Inshallah, maybe they'll change their mind and be nice. Yes, sir.
Some people abandon miswak. They say that in the old times they did not have plastic brushes, so they used miswak from the tree. Now we have brushes, automatic ones, and so we should abandon miswak. Use brush before every salah, and abandoning the miswak. That's the old way. They agree. They used to break them.
طيب. So basically the idea is when a new thing comes, you drop the old thing. So they should throw their parents in the trash. Because they came about, and now the parents are old. And once the new things come, you have to get rid of the old. There shouldn't be any more bicycles. And there shouldn't be any more scooters. Anything, because now you have airplanes and rockets and submarines. So khalas, we put this stage, get rid of the old. This is nonsense. What is the relation between something new and something old, them coexisting? I mean, I'm speaking from a logical point of view. I haven't even given you Islamic evidence. Logical point of view, just so we can refute them on a logical basis. Never has there been a problem with old and new coexisting. You can have old things that remain alive until now, and you can add things, and you can do both simultaneously. Logically. Islamically, Allah said in regards to the Prophet ﷺ said in regards to the siwak, أنها مطهرة للفم ومرضاة للرب subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is purifying for the mouth and pleasing to Allah. And that was only given to the what? The miswak. Not the toothbrush. Not the toothbrush. Not denying that the toothbrush may play the same role and therefore it could be pleasing to Allah, because the idea is what? Cleansing the face or the teeth, I'm sorry. But still that title was given to the siwak. So the siwak will ever remain a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and it will ever remain alive. And guess what? Allah still allows this tree to grow. And therefore it is still means for the Muslims to follow the sunnah. So the idea of them developing new things does not mean that you have to give up the old. Tell them, when all toothbrushes become electronic, you know, like they have them now, you just put on your mouth and it does all the work for you. So now a person who likes to do it himself is not allowed to do it anymore? Because now you have to get the one with the battery. I like to do it myself. According to their principle, no, you cannot. Because everybody advanced to battery functioning toothbrush, then you should do the same thing. We say no, I like the old style, you like the new style. I like the siwak, you like the toothbrush. But the siwak has a religious value which the toothbrush does not have. Plus it's only 1 riyal. Wa alaikum salam.
Speaking about organizations, you mentioned ISNA in the early part of the lecture. Just so people don't confuse, there's another ISNA in Australia, which is not propagating the same understanding as the one in the US. And alhamdulillah, from what I've seen in the past few years, they're sound. And they produce a lot of YouTube media and videos and everything. And alhamdulillah, you know Sheikh Faiz and all those people.
Naam.
They're the ones who are actually, when you see their video, you usually see ISNA written underneath. So people should not confuse the one in US with it.
Okay, so more power to the Australian ISNA. That's a good clarification. Now, so we won't paint everybody with the same brush, because these names are quite confusing. I was referring to the States specifically. I don't know about other organizations. Next thing you know, there's a brother who works for ISNA in Saudi is outside. Say you were speaking about ISNA, huh? I was speaking about that ISNA. I'm okay with you here. Yeah, just in case somebody's a troublemaker. I'm 6'5". I got fly shoes. Yes, Akhi.
There is a term called litterists, and one Islamic thinker called Tariq Ramadan, he mentioned that the Sufism interprets the religion by the literist way, or literally way.
Like الظاهرية يعني؟
No, حرفيين.
حرفيين. طيب مثل الظاهرية اللي يأخذون بظاهر الكلام والحرف يعني اللفظ، ولا ينظرون إلى المعاني والحكم من ورائه. صحيح؟ ولا قصدك شيء ثاني؟ طيب. Fundamentalists. We are fundamentalists in a sense that, no, I'm a little confused, but let me give you what I understand and you to correct me if I'm wrong. طيب. The way of the righteous predecessors is primarily based on literalism. Meaning you take the words as the ulama say, مُرُّوهَا كَمَا جَاءَتْ وَعَلَى ظَاهِرِهَا. We take it face value as it was revealed, unless we have an evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah itself, which guide us to interpreting that apparent text in another way. Otherwise, we stick to that. So in this sense, we become among those who take the literal meaning because we have to. Otherwise, the face of Allah will be denied, and the hands of Allah will be denied, and all of the sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal will be denied unless we follow the position of taking the words as they are. Now, when do the ulama go to the other option, which is giving something another interpretation, when the Quran and the Sunnah also force them to do so, because that meaning may negate the greatness of Allah Azza wa Jal or the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then they understood that in the light of those. So we could be that in a sense, but not as Ibn Hazm al-Zahiri. For example, al-Zahiriyya, they say, just so you'll understand, the Zahiriyya say, the Prophet ﷺ forbade that someone urinates in stagnant water. So they say, okay, the prohibition is about standing and urinating, but if you put urine in a cup and then you put it in the water, that's fine. Because the zahir of the hadith is that you do not do the urination yourself, but placing the urine in a cup and putting it does not act, so it's allowed now. So we say this is an extreme form of literalism, where you just take the literal word and you don't look at the hikmah behind the prohibition. Now that we don't have. But as for the other matters, yeah, the asl is that we take it as it is, unless there's a wisdom behind it, which the scholars understand, in which case we understand in the same way. Barakallah feek. Any other questions? People are starting to leave, meaning they're tired, or they have work. خلاص؟ طيب جزاكم الله خيرا for your patience. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.